Hello guys. In the last session, we learned that how can we activate the license on the F5 load balancer. We downloaded the image from the F5 portal. We downloaded the key, and then when we logged on, we got that okay, our F5 is licensed. So if you see now, I have all the features available on my load balancer. On the left hand side, you will observe that it is having all the features. If you want to check the license, that also you can check it out that how it is. So I licensed on 30th September and it is valid till 31st of October. So I will try to cover the entire syllabus till 31st October and do not expire this license. If it is expired, then I will renew, like if like I extend it. Anyways, in today's session, we will talk about the basic configuration on the F5 load balancer. So if you know very basics of the load balancer, the pretty thing is, for example, you want to access any server. For example, you hosted a web page, or let's take my web page, that is fresh developer.online. So for example, you are hitting this HTTPS, right? Colon fresh developer dot online. So once you hit, so obviously I will be hosting this content, whatever your web page is opening. I might have put that content somewhere. Okay. So for example, I have put that in certain server, in that server one or someplace server. Over there, I have any of the web server running. So web server is basically responsible for this HTTPS or the ATN 443. Okay. So I have a web server running on this server, and that is responsible for this HTTPS request, basically on port 443. So any user on the internet, for example, it was you and you try to access this web page, then what is going to happen? That this fresh developer.online, you will hit here www.freshdeveloper.online. Obviously, it is going to be go for the DNS resolution and you will get certain IP address. For example, you get an IP address of 20.20.20.20. And just give an example, or just like don't take this IP. Let's take anything else. Simple one. Let's take 100.1.1.1. Okay. So this is the IP address of the freshdeveloper.online, where this IP address will be basically. So this IP address will be of this web server. That's why you will reach here, right? Your request will go here. Otherwise, you will go somewhere else. So this will be the IP of my web server where I have hosted that freshdeveloper.online. You hit entered this freshdeveloper.online. I will, in short, I will say as an FTO. So whenever you enter this freshdeveloper.online or FTO, what has happened? It went for DNS resolution and it got the IP address of 100.1.1.1. That will be the IP address of actually my server that is landing somewhere here. And ultimately, you will be coming here. So this is the normal scenario I'm telling you when there is a no load balancer and nothing at all. Ultimately, if my server goes down because of the certain reasons, it could be the n number of reasons, it went down, then your services will be impacted. Or if I want to do maintenance on that web server, your services will be impacted. You cannot access my website because that server in itself is down. Server means they simply like computer. If you don't know the web server, just this is like your PC. All the systems are similar to like that one. Okay. So what happened that in order to sort out that issue, we arranged multiple server. We thought, okay, we will deploy the multiple servers. So obviously these multiple servers will be having the multiple IP addresses. So could be that IP1, IP2, IP3. So how basically this user from here will be accessing? They will be accessing IP1 or IP2 or IP3. I don't want that one. I want a common solution. I still want one single IP that users could be hitting that single IP. So what we said that, okay, let's park that IP address on a certain device. Okay. That device is called as a load balancer. Okay. So now whatever this IP 100.1.1.1 was basically on the web server, I parked it on the load balancer. Okay. So it means that whoever will be hitting from here, any user from the internet, they will be simply sending requests to the load balancer. From the load balancer, we will have the connectivity towards the server 1, server 2, and server 3, which is having an IP address 1, IP address 2, and IP address 3. What this load balancer will do, that this load balancer will keep on checking and monitoring the servers which is available, which is down, which is working or not. So whoever server is available or online, it will send that request to that server. So for example, all the servers are uh, up, they are running. So in that case, what is going to do? Like you try to access the page, the request went to the load balancer sent to the server 1 responded to the load balancer, and that load balancer will respond back to here. Cool. You will be accessing only the IP address of the load balancer. You don't know that which server or which what was the IP address of the server. That user does not know that. So this is the good from the security perspective as well, that any malicious guy from the internet cannot know the IP address of your actual server. Even if they want to attack it, they want to exploit, they cannot do because they don't know the actual IP address. And usually we put these IP addresses as a private IP address. So whatever will be on the load balancer, that is going to be public IP. And that's not the actual IP of the server. So that's why we call it as a virtual IP or VIP. So whatever the IP address, actually we are hitting, that is 100.1.1.1, that is basically a virtual IP. That is not the actual IP of the server. So we call it as a VIP. Okay. So that's how it is going to be. And if any of the server goes down, for example, that server which was having IP2, that is down, that's basically down. In that case, that server here, load balancer, will not send that request to this IP2 or the server 2. Ultimately, what is going to happen, that even one of your server goes down, the request will be served by the redundant server or available server. So that could be your server 1 and server 3. So that's basically the concept of the load balancer. Now let's try to do the same thing on the lab. So I will not be going into detail of every topic today. Right now, I will just show you that how basically all the configuration are done, and you can deploy a service on the load balancer and you can utilize the servers. So I have set up a lab. This is going to be your load balancer. And behind that one, we are having the 3 servers serving the request. This is going to be your internet connection. Okay, you can treat it like this, that this is your internet. Okay, so I will just write it here so that basically you come to know that this is not a internal network. An internal network, or we are the owner of the servers, that is on the right side. So this is going to be your internal network. So I have written the internal switch here, but I will also add shape here so that you can understand. So this is going to be your internal setup. And the F5 we keep it into like less security zone or DMZ because it could be having a virtual IP address as well. All right. So that's it. Here I will just write it as an internal. Okay. So very first thing, whenever you want to make any service available, what you have to create or basically a, a virtual IP address. A virtual IP address. So that virtual IP address should be somewhere on the F5 load balancer. So that virtual IP are also called as a virtual server. Okay, so this is LTM, local traffic manager. So what we are going to do, we are going to go on the virtual servers and we will create a virtual server. So I went here and name I give my server or my web server. Okay, description you can give like more details here. Type you can leave it like as it is. Okay, I'm not giving you more details. I will be coming back once again to do here because if I explain everything in this, I will not be able to complete my lab here. So that's why I'm just rush it up to show you basically all the configuration, and then I will be coming back once again on this and explaining you each and everything in the detail. Okay, so for example, right now source address I will put as 0.0.0. Okay, like anyone can access it. And what is going to be destination IP? So that destination is going to be basically our virtual IP or VIP, what we call it as. Okay, 100.1.1.1. That's the IP address we talked about, our IP address of the freshdeveloper.online. That's like not the actual IP of my website, but I'm telling you so that you can correlate that what is that IP. Okay. Now service port. Service port means that on which port number you want to access. So you are accessing this HTTPS, right? HTTPS means port 443. But for 443, it needs a certificate. So for the simplicity, I will just take an HTTP so that we can avoid that part. So same HTTP and HTTPS are same. Both are the web services. Okay. Remaining TCP is fine. HTTP profile is fine. I will not going to attach anything. SSL we don't need. That's why I haven't taken the 443. Okay. And service profile also. I will just coming back on this explaining that why they are basically and what's the purpose of them. I will also not include. And default pool is currently none. Okay. So I will coming back once again to attach a pool. So right now I have just like created a virtual server. Must have a prefix length. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, let's do like this. Okay, so now basically we have our web ready, my web server 100.1.1.1. But what are the actual servers behind that web that we are not aware of it? So we need some actual servers so which are serving this request. So those are called as nodes on F5. So we'll add nodes, right? So if I go here on the node list, currently there are no servers, basically no nodes added here. So we will add node. So right now I will just create a node. So node, I have one of the server running here, that is 172.16.1.10. Okay. So let me add that here. I will give the name as server one. Description is fine. Address is 172.16.1.10, right? So I will write as a 10. It's saying the health monitor, so I will just keep them as a node default. Okay, so these are monitor also. I will explain later. Monitors are very important. Okay, so I just add one server as of now. So these servers we cannot directly attach to virtual servers. We need to create a pool. Pool is like a set of the servers. Okay, so inside that group we have to create basically. So that we call it as a pool in the load balancer. That how many servers. So later on I will be adding more servers, or let's just me add it here. One more. Anyhow, I have to do it. So if I add server 2, okay. So server 2, it is going to be 172.16.20. Everything fine, finished. And let's add the third as well. Server 3 and 70.16.30, right? And finish. So I have added three servers, but I need to group them. Okay. So for grouping of here, it's known as a pool. So here I have to create a pool. I went to pool and create a pool here. So pool name, I can give it as a web server pool, or let me take my website, FGO pool, okay? Because I'm thinking of that's how basically we do in the production environment. Whatever the purpose we are creating it, we give that name so that let's suppose we have multiple pools, 1,000 or 2,000 pools. In that case, you can identify that for which purpose that pool it is, okay? And FGO pool, and here we are running the HTTP service that is port 80. So we will add that as a health monitor. Next thing is a load balancing method, that how basically you want to load balance. So I have selected this round robin. I will be coming back in each of everything once again. As of now, round robin means that each and like one by one, the request will be going. So for example, first request comes, that will go to server one. Second request comes, that will go to server two. Third request come, that will go to server three. That's what the round robin means, one by one. Okay. So I selected round robin. Policy group activation is disabled. Now it asking that add the nodes, like whatever the server I have added here, we call it as a node in the F5. So that it wants me to add it. So you can give directly here an IP address. Other way I have, because I have already added them. So I will go to the node list. So in the node list, all three are available. I will add one by one. Here service I need HTTP, add. Now 20, add, and 30, add, and finish it. Okay. So I have created a group of this pool. Now what I'm going to do, I will attach this group to my virtual server or my web. So my IP address is 100.1.1.1. What these users will be hitting, they will be requesting 100.1.1.1 here. And inside that 100.1.1.1, there are three servers part of the serving request. So let me add that as well. Okay. So, or I will also write it as a web. So that is landing on this F5. Okay. Here on the load balancer. So basically these users will be hitting this 100.1.1.1, and that virtual server includes the group of these three servers. That's what we are going to do here. So I select here, I go to resources, and inside that I add the pool, the FDO pool, what we just created. Okay. And save it, update. Cool. Everything is set. Can we do the things that are running, or like we can check it, or we cannot? No, man, we cannot because we haven't made any connectivity. I said that this is the interface, like how the connectivity is there. You have configured this one, but there's no connectivity from these servers to here. There's nothing at all. So very first thing, we have to also configure this the interfaces of these F5 load balancer because there was no configuration. So I go here, that is done under the network. And the very first thing I have to create the VLAN. Somewhere it should be VLANs. Okay, I create VLAN. First one I give as an internal VLAN, and tag it is not mandatory to give it. And the internal side is our this 1.2, right? This is our internal side. So here I will select as a 1.2, and tagging here I will push as a untagged because we do not want that VLAN tag, or just you can give it 100, not a problem, so that you can correlate. So this is basically on VLAN 100, and I don't want that tag should be sent to those servers. So we send towards server or computer, you know the switching technology, we send untagged traffic towards the servers or the computer because of our uh, basically that's not a trunk port. Okay, that's why. So I'll add it here under the VLAN 100 and finish it. And let me add one more, that is for the external. So here it's not mandatory to put that VLAN, but I will just do it. Or let's take it, it already has, okay, that's fine. Here, let's take a 200. And anyways, like we are going to create an untagged, so it doesn't matter. This is 1.1, right? So 1.1, I will select as a, this one also untagged and add and finish it. Okay. Now what we have to do, we have to define the interface. So if I go to this interface list here, right, we have this interface 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So 1.1, if you want to assign an IP address, you cannot assign an IP address here. So for that purpose, in the F5, we have the concept of self IPs. Okay. So for that, we go to the self IPs and I will create a self IP. So name, I will create as an internal self IP, or you don't know the self IP because you know already these are the self IPs. And IP address for the internal self IP, internal means this site 172.16.1.1. So that I have to give here. Don't worry, I will be explaining once again what are the self IPs and what are the purpose of them. Okay, I'm just little bit uh, rushing it up so that I can show you. Otherwise, this is going to be a 4 hours video. So this is 170.16.1.1 finished, and I will create one more for the external side. External side means this way 20.20.1. So I'll create an external. All right, 20.20.1. Yeah, that's it. And VLAN trunk is okay. I have to select this is an external, and other one I have to select as an internal. Okay, and allow all he or allow default is fine. I have to select allow default. I think I have to modify that internal one. VLAN truck here it is going to be internal VLAN, and port lockdown it is allow default. Okay, and traffic group is fine. Service service is also fine. State. Cool. So now the connectivity is also through. Okay, and if I go to nodes now, local traffic, and the nodes, they are in the blue color, and in the pools, this is in the red color. So that's basically down. It means that all of its member are down. It doesn't have the connectivity toward these members. Okay. So that is fine. Why? Because we do not have configured the IP address on the server. So I will go to control panel here and the network tab. And here I will configure the IP address of the server. So here the IP address is 172.16.1.10. 72.16.1.10, and the gateway, it is going to be 1. And apply it. So if I go to my CLI of the F5, right? And if I try to ping 172.16.1.10, it says that the destination host unreachable. I think I have given the correct IP here, 172.16.1.10. That is fine. Okay. One more thing, I have to put this switch in the on state. That interfaces will be down most probably. So here they are down. That's okay. Interfaces should be coming up very quick. They are up. And now if I try to ping it, oh yeah, I see the ping now. Cool. Perfect. So my ping is fine. So this node should also be green now here. So if I refresh this, you see that my server one has come up. Awesome, isn't it? So now what my load balancer will be doing, it will be sending all the requests to the server one. So I will go to this Windows machine. No, it doesn't like it. Let's stop and add new one. Cool. This is on. This is also on. So I'm just enabled that switch, this one. Okay, so that its interfaces comes up and my machine should be up as well now. That's basically a Windows 7 PC. Okay, it's loading. It seems like a little slow because of the load on my machine. I was thinking to finish it in like in 30 minutes, but we, we're still in 30 minutes track, and I think seems like it will take 5, 10 minutes more. Meanwhile, let me switch on these servers. Okay. Hmm. So I will change the IP address because here it should be in the same subnet. So I'll put this IP address here, 20.20.20. So I will go to center, local area connection, properties. It was 20. Yeah, for what? 20. And here it should be 20.1.20 dot 20 20.20.20.1. That should be the default gateway. Okay, close and close. So if I hit the my command prompt, check IP, it has been changed to 20.20.20.10. It should be 20, I think, right? Okay, anyways, it doesn't matter. So 10 is also fine. I'll modify here. Cool. Either way, we can change it. Purpose is we should be hitting our IP address 100.1.1.1, which is our virtual IP. This. Okay, so from this machine, 20.20.10, I will hit 100.1.1.1, and that response will be coming from this server. Now I close here and HTTP. Perfect. So you see that the response we are getting, this is server one. Awesome. If I put that server down, for example, any reason, let me go to F5 and I disable this server. So which was online, I disabled it. And now you see that I will not be getting any response from here. Server is not reachable. I will enable that back. That's green. And now my service is restored. Let me put on the third server. I think second is having some issues. I am not able to switch it on. I will check that later. We will check with the three if it comes back. I don't see any positive response. So whenever I see these entries, it means they stuck somewhere. So I will try once again for these two and three. Else what I will do, I will stop it here. We have already covered too much. So only thing remaining that I will switch it is on and show you that how basically the load balancing is happening. And then I will continue explaining you each and every concept like virtual servers, pool, persistence, profiles, licensing, HA. There's a lot of things to cover, right? What are the persistence profile? Why we use different profiles in the F5? How basically the packet flow works, right? that what is the IP address changed, how the IP address are changing, routing and also self IP, right? There's a lot of things that I will be covering one by one. So you have to be with me to all for all these. Still not. Let me check this server 3. Because these are the Linux tiny servers, so sometimes okay, assume select is loading now. Awesome. So this is my server 2, and that has come back. So I'll be configuring the IP address here, 172.16.1.20. All right. Gateway should be 1.1. Apply. And now we should be able to see the second server. Cool. Now we have two servers up and running. Now you will be thinking if I go and check, then every time it is going on server 1, right? Why? Because the content inside that server is same as server 1, so I have to change that one. I will also explain that in detail in the next session, but I will just do it right now in order to show you, else you will say that it is always going to the same server, right? So it's working right or not unresponsive. I think it went unresponsive. So I'll stop here. I will not extend beyond that one. All right, guys. So that's it. I will just let the next session. What I will do, I will just modify the name of these servers. Okay. This one I will change name as server 2. This name, not this name, whatever we are seeing here, right? Response. This response is coming as server 1. This is basically the content of that website. So that content name I will change so that whenever the request is going to the server 1, it shows server 1. It when it goes to server 2, it shows server 2. So that we can easily identify that on which server our request is going. All right. And one more thing that you can watch all these videos on my website. This is my website, freshdeveloper.online, that I explained before as well. And all the web videos will be available under this F5 LTM. You can also follow me on the Instagram and the LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn handler, I will be giving you the videos. If not, I will be providing you in the back. So it will be with Learn with Anuj Bharadwaj. Let me show you. So that like if you have any question, you can reach out to me and ask me any question if you have. So that's like easy to contact me on the LinkedIn. So this is my handler, is Learn with Anuj Bharadwaj. And then we can get in touch. All right. So I'll stop it here and then see you soon in the next video. Till that, bye bye.